So when you first come in to do your tuning and baselining, this is kind of setting your product up. You want to make sure you first validate all the installation. Is it in a good, acceptable state while this baselining is starting? You don't want to inherit something that's not functional. While it's in its baseline collection mode, you want to make sure you're conducting periodic health checks to make sure that something's not going awry while you're setting your foundation. And you can use this time to start looking at some of the data, updating run books, and maybe developing playbooks off of some common threads you are seeing in there. Once you've kind of finished your baselining, the next step would be to start cleaning up your asset inventory. I won't go into too many details on this, but there is some massaging that needs to happen with your assets. You need to classify your different assets, ensure they're tagged properly so the monitoring team knows what they're looking at. And if you are going to use the risk scoring broad brushstrokes that these tools use, you need to at least assign these assets a criticality scoring. If you don't do that, they are going to get miscategorized. Here, the alert tuning is kind of where I think some of the more special focus goes, and this is where you can go many different directions. So I'm going to use Nozomi as an example here too, to show that there are different levels of tuning and they align to your overall strategy. They've got 3 levels. One would be this concept of strict versus adaptive. And the first 2 can actually be either inherited from a centralized like global entity down, or they can be site specific. Strict is any variance that happens out there we want to highlight. Adaptive is a little more flexible. The next one down would be how you're handling your macro alerts that are turned on. They kind of go from low to medium to high to paranoid. The further up that you go, the more alerts you're going to get and more things you're going to need to look into. And the lower you get, the more confidence level they have that something malicious is taking place. So depending on your operational model and the skill sets of the people you have and the time you're willing to dig into this, maybe the criticality of your zones, that will define how you approach, say, that second tier. Then you get into more of the fine tuning where you want to start reviewing your alerts, identifying the benign ones and repetitive alerts, and create tuning rules to configure these thresholds. So this is the really fine tuned part where you need to understand the environment and how you're operating. If you have time here at this point, once you've cleaned it all up, this is where you can start integrating stuff like SOCs or starting to enhance your asset inventory metadata, very active polling. And again, take lessons learned from this, loop them back around.